The Four Nights of the Apocalypse, Chapter 146, The Love That Melts Curses Like Ice. And King wants to end this battle as soon as possible, and to do so, he decides to invoke the configuration with the greatest defensive power, True Spirit Lance Chastifol, 4th form, Sunflower. And Kilbegan seems to understand how dangerous this is, and he immediately wields his magic, using his enchantment doubled, magic shield doubled and dragon style doubled. And it could have been much worse, because despite being badly injured, Kilbegan survived a direct attack from the Sunflower, thanks to his quick defense response. However, King comments that it wasn't a very clever strategy, even though he succeeded in tricking Myrtle into entering the fairy realm through his shadow. But if he did all this in order to steal the elixir, it was undoubtedly too hasty, especially with him, the king of the fairies, being there and being his adversary. However, Kilbegan also questions whether the fairy king believes he can undo Myrtle's curse without the elixir. But the king tells him that Myrtle has a very strong heart, and that because of this, he will undoubtedly break the curse himself. However, Kilbegan doubts this, because the spell he cast acts directly on his mind. The Curse of Desire. The cursed person cannot lift the curse until he fulfills his deepest wish. And Kilbegan then asks, do you know what Myrtle's greatest desire is? He hates his human body and wants to be a fairy or a giant, just like his brothers. However, being human, his dream will forever be out of his reach. So only the ancient elixir can remove his curse. And if Kilbegan's intention was to affect the king of the fairies in some way, he succeeded, for the king began to doubt, to fear the worst-case scenario. Myrtle, meanwhile, was uncontrollable, attacking his own family. But Diane was using her own body as a shield to protect everyone. The giantess said she knew it wasn't what he really wanted to do, because he would never do anything like that. But the boy intensifies his attacks, while asking his mother to shut up. Worried about his mother, Zillion asks why he isn't wearing heavy metal. But as he gets no answer from his mother, Zillion calls out to Xana, who soon understands what they have to do. The two girls run off somewhere, while Myrtle continues to attack Diane. The Queen of the Giants had several cuts all over her body. But she still didn't give up on Myrtle. Diane apologizes to her son, saying she understands that it was difficult for him to know the whole truth. In a rage, Myrtle attacks her mother once again, shouting, "So you finally admitted it." And that last blow struck Diane in the face, but her sad countenance was not because of the pain of that wound, but because of the pain Myrtle was feeling. In desperation, from inside the Polem garden, Tyra calls out for her mother, while Nations wonders how to get out of the thing. The fairy replies that it's impossible, because it's one of the forms of the spiritual spear and that only her father can remove it. But outside, the situation was chaotic, Myrtle shouting, "You spent years saying you loved me, but the moment your true son appeared, you abandoned me." Soon we could see Zillion again, calling for his mother, and Belt was very angry because he didn't know where they had gone, until he noticed that the two sisters were carrying Gideon, their mother's sacred treasure. Xana asks her mother to use Gideon to teach Myrtle a lesson. However, even though Myrtle was attacking her voraciously, Diane said that she couldn't do that, but at the same time, her children feared that if she carried on like this, their mother would. And as she struck each of those blows against her own mother, Myrtle laughed as she said, "You hate me now? That hurts, but it certainly doesn't come close to the pain I felt in my heart." And Tyra once again tries to talk to her brother, saying that if he keeps attacking like that, he'll kill Mom. But Diane doesn't back down or fight back, on the contrary, she remains firm, calm and walks towards Myrtle, while making a request, "Please listen to me." But the chaotic Myrtle doesn't stop attacking, and warns her mother to stay away, so that she doesn't come any closer, because she hates her, she must abandon her and run away. But regardless of her words and actions, Diane would not give up. The giantess manages to reach Myrtle, and very close to him, she faces him. And she hugs her son. The embrace of a true mother. But Myrtle doesn't give in and asks her to let go. But Diane wasn't at all willing to give in either, and stroking Myrtle's head, she then said, "Mommy and Daddy's first son fell victim to a changeling the day he was born. We all looked hard for him, but we couldn't find him or his real parents. I was devastated, inconsolable, not because you were human, but because our first newborn son had disappeared. But over time, as we got to know you and take care of you, our feelings changed too. We came to understand that it was as if fate wanted you to take his place and that the child king and I had would be raised to be as kind as you somewhere else. So to try and give you a healthy life here in the fairy kingdom, King immediately gave you the elixir to take. Upon hearing this, Myrtle is speechless. Just like Nations and his brothers, who had no idea that King and Diane had done all this. But unfortunately the elixir didn't work. Diane says that the elixir has the power to cure illnesses and break curses. But it couldn't turn Myrtle into a giant or a fairy. I'm sorry we should have told you all this before, but we didn't want you to feel bad that we weren't your real parents. So that's when we decided that we wouldn't tell you anything or return you to the human world. After all, you were Mom and Dad's precious son. And after listening to all this, we can see something happen. The heavy hand with the nails embedded in his mother's arm returns to normal, while Myrtle says, "In truth, all I ever wanted to be was Mom and Dad's son. I just wanted to be part of the family." And these words, laden with so much feeling, moved her siblings. Perhaps with the exception of Xana, who strangely doesn't seem so happy. Myrtle finally asks for forgiveness for everything she's done. But Diane just thanks her for having her precious son back. Myrtle's deepest wish was to be part of the family, and with that fulfilled, the curse is broken and Myrtle is now back to the way she was before. But the battle isn't over yet, and it will continue with Sixtus in the next chapter, entitled Power Difference.